words to tell you that I think I lost my way. I know you're there behind the mirror, but the cracks, they begin to show.
Hello, and welcome to the ASR IMSA series race. Is this going to be 6 then? 7, 7. That's 4 races left. That's 2. I'm Ule. I can see the commentators. It's not correct, but I'm here today with Pickles and Wes. No Ava, unfortunately. But welcome to France, guys. Talked about cables earlier. I don't think they have cables in France neither.
There you go. Now I'm plugged in.
Huh.
All right.
Can they hear
All
me
right,
now?
Wes. I think I believe it or not, we have Wes in here and in the controls booth there,
There we go.
trying to push all the buttons like a NASA Space Control Center. Hello. Welcome to El Francais. Yeah, in Le Mans. So last time I believe I was here in Le Mans, Anti-Store Racing was taking part of a 24-hour event. But we won't have 24 hours today, will we, guys?
No, just the
I
one.
hope not. I did not schedule the next 24 hours to be pure racing. So have some sleep in between, I believe.
So round 7, as you mentioned, and we have a bit of a mix. And just to elaborate to everybody that may very well be new, like myself here, to the IMSA series, what sort of motor vehicles and classes do we have here today?
Oh, so today we have the LMP2s and we have the GT3s. Not all the GT3s. It's just trust me, I don't know. There's no McLaren. There'll probably be no Ford. Shocking. Mostly what you'll see is probably Beamers, Mercedes, Porsche, and a couple of Ferraris. There might be a Lamborghini. There might be one, but I don't know if they'll be here today. So it's a smaller portion of the actual GT3 class, but still a decent mix of about 4 or 5 different manufacturers. And of course, the LMP2 being the only one realistically being the Dallara that everybody uses. Of course, in qualifying they are split, so traffic's not an issue. Of course, it's Le Mans, it won't be really an issue anyway, but they are still split into half I think it's 13 minutes each class. So realistically, not many laps for the GT3s, I must admit, this time out in Le Mans, as it being such a long lap. So each lap they get is crucial. But yeah, that's the 2 classes we have today.
Not a lot of room for error in the qualifying session. Well, lap in the GT3s is at around 4 minutes, I believe. Something like that should be. And if you have 15 minutes of qualifying, that's 3 laps if you're lucky. Really can't afford to do anything funky in the chicanes. Can't even get a banker lap in, can you?
No, well, I think you get like one. You get 1 or 2. You get 1 banker maybe. So yeah, you don't want to go off at all because then you've wasted another 3 and a bit minutes, nearly 4 minutes. Relative, well, it is about 4, isn't it here? So yeah, what they're gonna get. They're gonna get 2 laps in, depending if they all go out straight away, which I assume they all went out straight away. Let me just get a track map up for everybody. So there's where all the cars are. There is one car on their own, car number 9, which I assume came out way after everybody else, so they might get quite a few minutes behind you, you'd have to say, on the track map there. But lots and lots of little sector times. We'll see there's a purple at the moment for one car, but it's such a long lap. It's not really about nailing it, is it here? Is it just about surviving this race today?
Oh, that's a good question. Of course, you always have to get it right. And survival is always key when you have a long race like these ones, about an hour, right? So it's a lot of factors that goes into it. I'm just wondering a little bit about this qualifying, why some people have decided to spread out a little bit. You can see we have this group of cars coming into the end of the Molson straight corner. I don't remember what it's called, and my French is really bad. Well, they're going to be benefiting from slipstream from each other if they get this outlap right. Whereas some of the people that's further behind, is that the 8 car? Am I seeing that correctly in the final sector coming up to the Portuguese?
The number...
second.
Number 9? This one here?
Number 9, yeah. Thomas Amos. He's about to start this lap, but he has no slipstream whatsoever, so he's going to have to make up for that in the corners. And that's not just a little bit. That's a lot of tenths he'll have to try and gain.
And is it just... go ahead.
Oh, yeah. There's not much more to it. It's quite simple. He has to put the throttle down earlier than everybody else coming out the corners. But of course, as I said, you have to stay within the white lines. Otherwise, you're gonna have a bad time.
And is it just me, or all the car headlights are very orange tingy-ish?
Yeah, I'll give you that.
around
No,
the-
yeah, I'll give you that. They are quite, especially, yeah, they're all quite yellow, aren't they? It does take me back to the good old days where on the motorway you'd always see yellow lights rather than the bright LEDs that you do now. Well, I wonder if the
Little bit of
LMP2s are the
nostalgia.
same. Yeah, a little bit there. It's like, anybody else remember smoking inside? How about that? Yeah. Oh, actually, is that just an English thing? Did everybody else get the smoking inside ban, or is it just an English thing? Just thinking about that.
I don't remember hearing that.
Can you smoke inside over there in Australia?
What? Smoke inside?
Yeah, can you smoke inside?
No. They banned that centuries ago.
Yeah. Cool. I wonder if everyone did that around the same time.
You can't even smoke in city streets, in outside of buildings and stuff like that.
Really?
No, certain places. Yep.
Oh wow.
So that stops people from puffing a cigarette outside the office buildings and stuff like that. They have to go all the way down to a park or something like that.
Wow,
Oh,
really?
you can't smoke in a park either.
No, yeah, we can't smoke in a park, but everybody does. But yeah, we don't really have any designated areas. We're just not allowed to smoke inside or at I think like football. Are you allowed to smoke at football stadiums? I don't know. There's always just no smoking signs everywhere.
I remember when I was in Romania, people smoking in the mall.
Oh,
I was like, wow. That was a few years ago. Might not be doing that anymore, but here we go. So first couple of times to come in there. So Mr. Fabio Ponta has got it on point. There you go. With a 3:52. Looks like a pretty good time there for the Porsche.
yeah, 2 seconds. Well, not just under 2 seconds quicker than anybody else. Another purple's way. It's starting to brighten up as well. They have been practicing all of practice in the night, but they will be going. It will be lights off and away we go because the lights will come off and the sun will be out for the start of the race, I believe. As you can see, it's starting to sort of brighten up, which is good news.
I hope so.
For us to be able to see.
So we can see their liveries
Yeah.
exactly as well too, rather than just headlights and brake lights.
Yeah, exactly. That's we don't just want to see yellow front lights and try and guess who the cars are. We'd like to see. It is obviously nice. During the practice, I was enjoying the on top of the cars, especially where I like the Mercedes. You'll see. It's quite far in the distance, but they have lights on the top of the roof that were purple and blue, and they were lovely to look at. They really did stand out in the dark. I wonder if you'll see it just slightly as it comes into view. They got little LED strips on the roof.
Yeah, you can see that exactly to the left and to the right. That's how you can tell which way the car's pointing at you. I guess like planes do. Why don't they have a little hologram that's projecting the number up on top of the car? There you go, so you can see it. Just a little hologram. That way it's a hologram. It's not, that way it's not affecting the actual aerodynamic performance of it. I might make that in my backyard tomorrow and send that prototype in. Make it a lot easier for us as spectators.
Yeah, because I don't even think the Porsche there doesn't have a rear window to have the rear number on, does it? Look at that. It doesn't have it has the number on the side, but not the rear window compared to the Mercedes has it on the side, I think.
I think it depends on when the cars was added to iRacing. I remember the old Mercedes didn't have it neither. The numbers on the sides.
What does this car have on its roof? It's a little GoPro cam. See that? Right on top of the yellow dot on the middle of the roof there on this 888 car you're looking at. It's like it.
Sorry, you said there's a dot in the middle of the roof? Yeah, no.
Yeah, there's a yellow.
there is
like
something.
a camera or something.
Yeah, no, I'll give you that. There is. I wonder if fully there is one. Yeah, little bit sticking out the top of the roof. Yeah, that's it.
Now you guys have said that you can use the windscreen wipers, right, in some of these cars or not?
Oh yeah, fully.
Yeah.
Fully, yeah. I have a button map for mine. Completely.
There's just no rain yet, so there's no real use.
Wow, it's
for
I only use them for the rallycross. You see, a lot of dirt gets thrown on there. You gotta.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
interesting that the two Ferrari teammates have got red and they got blue on the side of their cars. Nice for them to go. Interesting that. Oh yeah, no. Now I understand why his rear light's not lighting up. It's because he hasn't set a time, so he hasn't actually got a position. That's why.
Yeah, because it shows you their position on the side of the car.
Just means he hasn't set a time yet. Is
But they are
Adam?
working together as teammates, no doubt. They get a slipstream tow.
Yeah, definitely are. Definitely. Someone's just crashed in the somewhere. I heard it, but I haven't got anything telling me that they've crashed. But there you go. So
Me
Adam's
fumbling over the chairs and stuff like that to get to the fridge to get a couple of beers.
Oh, that was close to the wall.
Which one of these drivers is going to go through the KFC drive-through for me? Like they tried to get that done in the 24-hour Le Mans here at Anti-Store Racing.
I think. Wonder if it's not going to be Aliso because he's flying along. I don't think he's going to stop at any KFC anytime soon. Lots of purples there. Lots and lots of purples near the end of his lap. This is it, really. This is their last couple. This is their last lap because the time will run out for them pretty soon. Uses all the pit lane entry. Hits the curves massively through the last couple of chicanes. Slow it right down. This is quite tedious. Oh, I know it wasn't slow for him. He used all of the curb and a bit more. What does he do? Does he go pole? Long pause and a long wait. Did his lap count? No. Apparently not. So he must have cut somewhere. That's unfortunate for him. Will they be allowed to finish their... I assume, from what I can work out, they are going to be allowed to finish their laps before the LMP2s come out. So they're going to let...
they've crossed the line before the 15-minute mark, they should be allowed to finish the final lap. And if that is the case, I believe Fabio's still around halfway through his third lap.
Yeah, he is.
It says 2.5 in my timing, so he is going to be coming around pretty soon, but he's still 1.5 seconds in front of P2 with that 352.6 that he managed to set early on the qualifying.
Yeah, so they're going to all finish this lap and then obviously come in afterwards. While they're on this lap somewhere around about soon, the LMP2s will come out and start their out lap. Because that's just such a big lap, they should be fine. But the only issue there is car number 9 is out of sync with the rest of the GT3s. And to be fair, I don't know if he's going to get to the line in time to start another lap. So he may be, because the LMP2s, if I'm not wrong, are going to be coming out now. Look at them piling into the... Are they going now?
Lining up for this.
They're waiting.
Lining up next to each other on the pit exit.
It's always cool to
That's
see.
an interesting tactic. A minute from the entrance of the Porsche curve should be enough.
How many LMPs do we have in there?
1, 2,
total?
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 today.
We're pretty even.
Yeah, pretty actually, yeah.
12 GT3s and 10 LMPs.
Yep, that looks like you the way, yeah. I'd say maybe
enough to give us some entertaining racing later on.
So, guys, how frustrating is it to, on such a long lap to, as you see, a lot of drivers have yet to set times here because they've been validated. How frustrating is it to know that you just made a tiny little mistake maybe towards the end there and you're like, gotta go around and do it all over again? Like, is there a safer way to play it so you just get a time on the board and then try to increase your speed the next lap?
It's ridiculous, isn't it? Around here to get an off track, it just feels like you've wasted so much time in your life. Like, the first lap is probably go out there and just set a banker, and then once you got a banker, I guess the second one's absolutely go for it. I don't even know if you can around here. I don't know if you can pin it because just out of the pure, worry that you're going to get an off track. Especially in that last sector. It's always in the down last sector when you're done 3 minutes of the lap. You come round and you just go slightly wide and it gets you an off track and it's wasted 3 minutes. Does Fabio get another time in? He does improve even more, so he's done a 352.1, and with that, everybody else shall be coming across the line soon. I wonder if Alisso's doing a time and going quicker. He'll be one of the last GT3s
Fabio
to
didn't
finish.
even have a car in front of him to tow him around, did he?
No, he was one of the
That's
first.
just pure pace. That's actually impressive. I said who was the 9 car. I mentioned that he really had to do something to try and make that tactic work out for him. Thomas Amos early on being the leader of the qualifying. The leading car, so he went out in the outlap. But Fabio just not caring about slipstream whatsoever and still managing to put a pretty nice gap time-wise. Of course, the P1 and the P2 is the same. Yeah, it doesn't really matter if it's 2 seconds or 2/10.
As they pull over here so that they can magically just crane the car over back into the pit lane there to the left-hand side. Your screen.
Imagine they're just going in the pit exit instead of the pit entrance is basically what's happening there. They're just turning all right at the end. That would be probably the best way to do it,
I
wouldn't it?
still think they need to add it so that you can't just disappear back to the pit lane. You've got to drive back to the pit lane. That's how it's a racing simulator. Why is that not simulated? It changes everything around too, because of course you got tire wear and all that sort of jazz, and you have to also take care of your car because if you can't drive that thing back, you're in trouble.
Yeah, I'll give you that. I've always found it was weird that you could just tow, take a tow and be alright. It's good that they have a time limit. Of course, in practice and qualifying, they don't have a time limit. But yeah, it would add another thing to qualifying if they weren't allowed to just take a tow and they had to drive back. It would probably...
It would be super frustrating for this track, of course, being so long. There's a spinner in the background. I think that was... I'm not quite sure who that was. It was an orange car.
Orange
There was a lot of Dutch here on the grid, so I was going to say it's the Dutch driver, but then again, there's about 12 of them.
It might have been Sebastian.
Ooh, Sebastian, yeah.
There it is.
Into the wall, looks like.
I sadly don't have a spin for him, but we can all confirm he was spinning there, definitely. And we found him.
The quick switch back to the pit lane.
I almost thought he was just doing donuts when I got on board him there. I thought, oh, okay. Just decided that he's not going to stay. Also, somebody that was going quick there was Aliso, and he ended up not setting a time. Obviously, we saw that he was doing purple sectors, and then obviously his lap was invalidated. He didn't set another time, so he started at the back of the grid for the GT3s, but obviously much quicker than the back of the grid. So we'll see him come through the field from the GT3 perspective. Now, all of the LMP2s apart from two are out there. One of them not going to be joining us today after wheelbase problems, which has stopped them from taking part, sadly. So only one other car that's not out on the circuit. Some race notes.
Who needs a wheel? Use a mouse and keyboard like I do.
Yeah.
We're supposed to be professional drivers here.
Yeah, absolutely send it. Go on. We had a little conversation, me and Nils, before the start of the stream about championship standings. I can bring some up for you, the LMP2s. It might mean nothing to anyone because, honestly, like I'm about to say, the championship leader has 2,115 points. Now, I normally at the end of the season always have to work out who's going to win the championship while the race is happening. This season, there's so many points on hand, I don't think I'm going to bother because there's just so much. I think you get 350 for a win, I think, and 35 for a pole. So, you know, the championship's wide open in that regard. So there's the top 18 on your screen now. We do have most of the top 10 here. Benjamin Seiss isn't here, which is P11. He won round 1, but hasn't had the best of luck since. Izzo has been winning, and he's only got a 100-point gap back to Lorenzo. So it is quite close. But yeah, 350 points, I believe, up for grabs. Yeah, so that's championship standings. It's the same for GT3 too. Lots and lots of points are available. 2,103 is the point for the leader going into this round, which is the driver we were talking about, which will start at the back today. So that was a bit of a fight. He won't get the 35 points for pole. It will be going to Fabio, won't it? So Fabio will gain an extra 35, which actually probably does it move him at all? No, he stays where he is for now in P3. But yeah, so those are the championship standings heading into this weekend. But yeah, lots and lots of points on offer and lots of points to go for the rest of the season. So it's wide open, and good luck whoever has to try and work out the championship standings on the final round.
A little bit about the points there. From what I can see in the standings, the largest amount of points that one driver have received from a single race is Alessandro Iso with 382 in both Monza and of course last week at Road America. And then he's also had 380 at Daytona. So it's almost 400 points in 4 rounds. So it's going to be almost 1,600 pounds still up for points, not pounds, up for grabs. So technically, if some of the top drivers weren't to not show up, was it? Yeah. P13 Håkon Krebs, that he could actually be the winner in the LMP2 championship winner. But of course, there's gonna be a lot of things that has to work out in his favor if that were to happen.
Yeah, a long way to go. Still 3 rounds after this one. 3 difficult circuits as well. I think we've got Sebring and Silverstone being 2 off the top of my head, and Catalonia, I believe, as well. So 3 interesting circuits.
Barcelona, Sebring, and Silverstone.
That's the one.
In
That's
that
it.
order.
That's what we've got. Very different circuits to the one we're on today, but this is probably the one that everybody wants to win. Everybody wanted to win Indianapolis in the IndyCar series. Everybody wants to win Le Mans here. Don't know what round anybody wants to win in touring cars. I assume the final one in the Grand Prix circuit at Brands Hatch is probably the most prestigious one out of all of the calendar and touring cars to try and win. So yeah, every season has its one that you want to win, and this is it for the multi-class racing. Sadly, we don't have Ava today. Ava is a massive fan of multi-class racing, probably loves them on, I'm sure. But I'm going to say right now that I believe there was a stream the other day where they said that the multi-class racing is the best racing on from ASR. But they're lying. Touring cars on Tuesdays. Go watch that. That's great. But I'm sure you enjoyed today as well. All biased. I'm sure Biggles will tell you that Monday nights of IndyCar is probably the best as well. We're all probably equally biased to the streams we do. Relenzo will be the first to put a time then. Let's see what they can do then. Well, 3 minutes 27 is the first time. And they're not far off each other, only 5/10 there between the 2 teammates.
That's really close. We still have to think about how long these laps actually are. It's a 3 minute and 27-second laps, half a second. It's pretty close to nothing. Of course, in racing terms, it's about 2 years in shorter circuits, but a circuit like Le Mans, where the lap is so long, half a second is... I'm not gonna say it's easy to find, but it's easier to find than it will be at some of the shorter circuits. I was gonna say Silverstone, that's still a fairly long circuit, but there are some short circuits out there where half a second is gonna be really difficult, and where half a second is sometimes the difference between P1 and P10.
Yeah, I think
So
you can
this
say
circuit is really close.
Road America last time out, not the longest circuit in the world, 2 minute lap. I think it was 2 minute lap time still, there wasn't it, relatively, I think, if I'm not wrong. But that circuit, probably quite easy to find quite difficult to find 5 temps when you've sort of think you hit the peak, compared to here today, where 5 temps pretty easy to do if you just brake slightly later for one of the corners or get a nice draft down the back straight.
Yeah, you mentioned the draft again. I'm not too up to date with how people are doing. Looks like there's a bit of drafting with the 420 car. He is on my track map. He's right on top of another guy, but I'm not too sure who that is because as I said, they are on top of each other. Well, it looks like one of those are gonna be gonna probably have a pretty good lap at the end of this 420. Let's see who is that is gonna be. Dylan van der Lans. No idea who he's next to. Let's see, it's a 50 something 55 car.
Who's Dylan next to? Dylan 55, yeah, dead on 55.
Yeah. This next to Frank Smith. Neither of the 2 drivers have put in a lap, so it's gonna be interesting to see what they're gonna be able to do.
So
actually only 7.
Don't think Dylan's on a lap.
lap.
Dylan's not on one, but Frank is, I think, is what's happening here. So Frank's getting a nice draft here.
I'm sure he wouldn't mind that.
No, he won't be complaining at all. He's helping his qualifying run.
Perhaps into the Porsche case you'd like them to get out the way.
It's actually just set a purple sector there. So it actually is helping Frank a lot here.
The green sector at the beginning of the lap as well. Of course, a few yellow ones, but it doesn't really indicate anything.
Oh, he's pulled out of the way. Is he gone?
Oh
no.
Is that Frank? Why are you...
Yes, he's pulled over, so...
Had some kind of problem going into Indianapolis?
Did he get an off track somewhere? I wonder.
It's really unfortunate for Frank. He's not going to have a good lap now.
A couple of drivers it says out laps for. So is there drivers out there that have actually fueled for 1 lap and then come back out? Have Izzo and Kalis, have they both gone in after doing their laps and then fueled again and come back out? Because I don't know if they're on it. It just says out laps. I'll be absolutely shocked if they have done that, if they've gone into the pits. Because they were ahead of James, and then, well, they're not now. So yeah, I think they have. They've gone into the pits and fueled for 1 lap runs. which is quite surprising. They're adamant that they're going to fit that in, which I think they will. James crosses the line now, and he's done. He's not going to get. He's at it. That's his time done. He's not going to go any quicker than that. He's now in the pits and probably won't come back out for another run because he won't have enough time to get round. But yeah, they've gone. So the top two have gone into the pits after doing their first laps, fueled for technically 2 laps for their out lap, and that's what they're doing. They're doing 2-1 runs.
Some interesting tactics. I'm not too sure about Lorenzo, but it's not the first time that we see Alessandro doing something that's out of the norm. I remember a race at Red Bull Ring, I believe was it last season, where everybody else was on a 2-stopper in the GT3, and he managed to pull out a 1-stopper, and absolutely, well, in a way, he actually demolished his competition because he ended up winning by 20 seconds or something like that. Because he was so far ahead at the end, even though he had to fuel save like crazy towards the end of the race. But he always seemed to be one of the guys that just pulls out something crazy out of the head. Alessandro also a guy that is towards the top. I rating wise. It is fuel. Dylan, did it go a bit wide going into the second chicane? Not too sure. Looked like he went a bit wide there. On the exit at least. Yeah. Still a few green sectors. I see, he didn't put a lap in last time?
No,
He mentioned it was his out lap, so it's going to be his first time lap.
First and only as well. Because once the clock goes, he'll be done.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to be able to get back in the minute and 20 seconds. It's going to be the slower part of the lap. You had the entire Mulsanne straight, of course, a few chicanes and then a couple of turns at the beginning of the lap. But now you're getting into the slower sections, Indianapolis, pretty fast corner, but after that, it's at Arnage, I believe. It's a really slow corner, always difficult to get right. Never fun to go into, especially not during the night where you can't see anything.
Oh, lovely little drift.
See Dylan, he goes through Indy, and then let's see. Are we braking? Manages to stay on track. That's pretty good for Dylan. Not for Dylan particularly, but of course always nice to not have the car end up in a wall. Coming out towards the Porsche chicanes, always it's some of the best sectors in the iRacing service, in my opinion at least, especially in LMP2. Just put the throttle down, and then it's just about turning. It's always lovely. Final corner here, a left-hander. I keep getting wrong every single time, apart from then one lap when I managed to do something that seemed to work, and then try to replicating getting a slowdown for the 5th time in an hour. Final couple of corner here, 4 chicanes. He's completely green for the time being. He should be. It's his first out lap across the line. What's his lap time? I can't see it here, but it's a P4. It's a 3:28.1. So it's actually not too far off P1 as Frank comes past Dylan.
Frank beats him by a 10th.
Yeah, less than a 10th, and I'll just sum up again that this is a really long lap, so 10th is nothing. It's yeah, I can't even describe how small of a difference it is.
Well, that's some understeer there from Hakon. Hello as well to the race control in the chat, not in the chat, but over the graphics. Hello to you guys as well. Ryan Martin can't believe he got P2 in the GT3. He was not expecting that, so congratulations, Ryan. Good luck from P2. He did it by a 10th as well, so we're talking about very small margins on such a big track. So checkered flag is out. 3 cars, I think, left to put some times on the board. Hakon and the first and second on the moment. I think Roberto isn't out at the moment. So yeah, 3 cars left, and you can see their times, how they're doing at the bottom of your screen. And the lights are off now, aren't they? Well, they're still on, but it's definitely sunny out there, so it will be racing in the daylight.
Alessandro with a lot of yellow sectors, actually. That's not looking too promising, but a green sector and a purple one, that's gonna have to make up a lot of the time that he's lost another green sector as he comes into the final couple of corners.
Akon has just gone P4 by a tenth. Quite close.
They really are. The Gasolini, our current pole sitter. Final 2 corners on the exit curb across the line. A lot of yellow sectors once again from our pole sitter, but it's going to be a new pole time. 3:26.7. It's really fast from. Yeah. Okay. That was a bit weird. Alessandro Iso
goes to the pits after all that.
Goes into the pits. I'm not really sure why I did that. Well, of course he obviously had some kind of mistake out there. Question is if he had that going into the 4 chicanes. But nonetheless, that's qualifying done for our Le Mans series.
Oh wow. Where's? Oh, that scares me.
There's Barney. Give us a wave there, Barney. Hello. Seeing the same pictures you're seeing.
Oh, you are.
Yeah. It's gonna wait a bit before we get our qualifying results up on screen. I think we can talk about qualifying as we want to. I think we could spend hours doing that, but it is Le Mans. There's a long straight that is Mulsanne, and then followed up by another long straight. It's gonna be a lot of drafting between the LMP2s and GT3s as well. And then not only that, we also have some traffic that's gonna come into play. So qualifying is of course always important. I think with the time that Fabio's managed to set, really putting in dominant performance in the GT3 qualifying. He may have a bit more lap time in his Porsche than some of the other guys does. Especially because not everybody's driving a Porsche. But yeah, I don't think anything is settled yet. Everything is so close.
Surprised of qualifying still going. It's not technically finished yet until so I can't give you the results until it's technically finished. And for some weird reason,
is anybody out on track?
No, I don't think they are. No one's out there according to the track map or anything, so I don't actually have an answer for you. 4 GT3s IMSA at a time, so there should be about 15 GT3s and 10 LMP2s. But yeah, I'm not sure why time's still ticking away. It's gone 4 minutes over. It allowed them all to finish, but we saw the race control said that the checkered flag is out, so I'm not sure if it's just waiting to advance the session.
Well, I think it's because all the drivers out there in the on the Ferris wheel.
They're all they've gone to the Ferris wheel to have a nice little ice cream and a nice ride on there. There we go then. Here are the results.
Some people go for a track walk, other people go for a Ferris wheel ride. Looking over the circuit. I don't even think you can see the entire circuit from that Ferris wheel, even though it's
probably not.
It's massive.
I would imagine you couldn't. No, it looks like a candy cane thing on the arms too.
Need a helicopter for that one. Okay, qualifying results up. This is the LMP2. So, of course, once again, it's Lovento managing to put in pole lap of 3 minutes, 26 seconds, and 6.8 almost a second, 9/10 in front of Alessandro Iso, who's, of course, our current championship leader. See, where's Lovento in the championship? He's actually right behind, 100 points behind. I'm not too sure what that's going to bring him in terms of points in this range. Was it 50 points for pole? Doesn't matter. James Eep on P3, Håkon grabs at P4, just managing to grab that P4 at the end as Frank also had it briefly just after Dylan managed to set in his first tap, which means that Frank is P5, Dylan P6, and it's Vesel Beckman P7, Sebastian P8, Aiden Young P9, Roberto Di Lips P10, and Mika Geritze, I think it's pronounced P11. There's no time for Mika, so we still to see how he does.
Yeah, he's the one with the broken steering wheel, sadly.
Oh, yeah. So he may not participate in the race itself. Okay. Pickles, do you want to take us to GT3? Maybe you have some insight.
I can't. Sorry, no, it's not showing
Oh,
up
you-
for me.
oh,
okay,
You
okay.
guys get it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's all blurry for me, so I can't even read it up now.
Oh no, that's show. I can go. Fabio will take pole. Ryan will take P2. Tim takes P3. Luigi will start in P4. Lars will take P5. Christian P6. Lewis P7. Diaz P8. Richard P9. Gazeki P10. Thomas in P11. And then we have forecasters instead of time of Elizzo, Victor, Adam, and Rick. I'm not sure if Rick will take part, but he will be there in P15 if he does. Race Control was saying something interesting there, talking about the start, and
Landing start.
no, it's
Oh.
yeah, imagine that. They're talking about how the leader won't go until every car has gone through the Ford chicanes, or something along those lines. So,
Just to make sure that everybody gets through safely.
yeah. I'm
It's
not
never
sure
fun
if that
to
meant
start a race
every
in the Ford
car,
chicane.
including the GT3s, but I think it might be. So like a proper, I think that's like a proper Le Mans start, isn't it? They're not allowed to go until
Yeah, it is.
everyone's
It is.
through, and it's double file as well. So, not fun of that. But I think
Still
Ooh.
having some warm up here. While we've seen cars out on track with a relatively large gap to each other. Is that Lorenzo we are seeing here in the picture?
It was,
Oh.
yeah.
Yeah, now we're switching way. You see the straight that is the Mulsanne straight. You see both chicanes here. It's an immensely long straight.
Yeah. Why don't you
can
just go
only
straight
imagine
through?
what it's like.
Don't go around. Go straight through. It's quicker.
Probably
Don't they
is.
say in a race car, quickest way around a track is the shortest path? That's the shortest path. Might get an invalidation, but
And you take the chicane slot, of course, there's a tire barrier, but you can go a little bit to the left and then try to cut across the gravel.
it just hits a poor witch's hat there too.
I think it's going to be pretty difficult with the first chicane, but I think it's.
Oh, look at
actually
that.
somewhat
People
doable in
are-
the second.
People are practicing the pit entry. Smart to do, isn't it? Look at that. Is everybody going to do it? No, not everybody. A lovely camera angle that is. A few going in the pits, some going to the right.
That's another thing that some people may not realize, that the pit entry is also a place where you can gain a lot of time if you get it right. So if
Yeah.
in a race where every single 10th counts, it's one of the places you want to put a little extra time on.
Love the fact that the countdown
But
there actually was properly to the game, to the iRacing as well. It's 9 seconds to go until the warm-up end, and the clock had 9 seconds on it. That was awesome. Look at that. What a long straight that is. Imagine trying to run down
wait for
that.
25 cars to come back.
What top speed would they hit? Say in the LMP down that main street.
Cool.
Right, so just to repeat, the leader of the class can go when race
355,
control gives the okay.
think.
This will happen once all cars
That's not bad
355 plus
considering.
minus
Please do the gap between
how
LMP2
much
and
hour
GT3s,
they're running.
and keep an eye out for race control.
Yeah, well, the Formula One car travels at the about 362, I think, in Monza. So
Yeah,
not
yeah.
too
Well,
bad.
the record is 380. Is it 82? 380 something at Mexico. Talking about Mexico, they're driving in Mexico this weekend.
A free practice is on now, I believe.
Oh, is it?
Oh, yeah.
Might be finished. Yeah, practice one.
They're racing a bit late.
How could you get that top speed in Mexico? That back straight's not that long.
No, but there's very thin air in Mexico. They're pretty high up. I think they're
Yeah, they're very high up. Very.
2 point
Yeah.
something kilometers up.
Yes,
Yeah,
that's
it's-
right. Mexico
it's very
City is on
thin air.
top of a hill. Top
Yeah.
of a mountain.
Thinner.
It's like,
very long intervals.
Yeah,
Look
when I went
pretty
to
fast,
Costa
right?
Rica, San Jose as well too. When I went to San Jose, I didn't realize that's also up really, really high, and then they go all the way down a mountain to go down to the coastal areas. Panama City's pretty flat, so don't worry about that.
So it's per class, by the way. The LMP2s will go separate to the GT3s around the chicanes. So it's per class. I've been told by Race Control. Thank you. I think it was Andy that. Andy? It wasn't Andy.
And
that
yeah,
informed me.
they're like, get out of the
Lorenzo
way,
was taking
Oh,
the
race
Porsche.
car.
They've passed
Rid of
it.
the safety car.
Hello.
I think he's a bit,
Doesn't he give a in-game penalty for that one? If he stays there for too long?
Well, if I was a safety car right now, I'd just give you a little bit of a nudge to remind you how strong the safety car is compared to the LMP.
A light tap to the rear. It's actually no collision with the safety car, so in theory you
The
could go
safety
right
car's
through it.
not wearing a helmet. Anyone else? He's not wearing a helmet.
No,
He's just-
he's wearing a helmet. He's
No.
wearing a
He's
helmet.
got
I
the
saw him.
LMP2 back
He's
together.
wearing goggles. He's wearing earmuffs. He's not wearing a helmet.
Oh, that's right. Well, yeah. Well, yeah. Well,
That's not
they're
a
coming
that's a
faster.
hat. He's wearing a hat with earmuffs.
He's closer to back out. Come on.
He's got his seatbelt on at least.
Well, it's the safety car. There's no reason to wear a helmet.
And if you guys had tuned in, obviously, to what happened in Long Beach for the IndyCar series that we have at Any Store Racing, well, they did collide in because the safety car crashed out of the tight hairpin turn in Long Beach, and a couple of cars crashed into the back of that one. So if you want to see that, check to the IndyCar series, Any Store Racing here. It's twice as well too. The safety car crashed, a pace car coming out of the final turn, I think it is in Long Beach, because it's not designed to steer around that corner.
my dinner's literally
That
just turned
final
up on
corner on Long
this.
Beach is just... Yeah, I can't really describe how tight that is. And in a GTE
Yeah.
car that doesn't turn at all.
And so it did, and the car, safety car's in.
Yeah, but of course we have to wait a little bit before we start, because we have lights out.
They're allowed to go
We
now.
need to get our GT3 cars to get through the Ford chicane as well.
There you go. They're allowed to go.
Green, green, green. And they're going to take a run to the Italians. Remember the Italian 1-2 duo there. That's James in P3 there. And James Inman trying to think something about getting past the Italians, but the Italians should be able to work together as teammates and do some fantastic blocking per se. Make it difficult.
That's Sebastian already up into P4, but that's an incredible start from the Dutchman. Gaining 4 positions after the first chicane. Thing is, of course, we're still really tight as the GT3s have made it past the Dunlop bridge.
James did split the two Italians right there. So the APAC Tech Racing team has got it done.
Is that a slowdown for?
Oh, actually, yeah, there is a slowdown.
Not the type of driver that would let people pass on his own. That's really unfortunate. A great start from Sebastian, but it's some margins, especially in the beginning. Small off track with a slowdown following. It's never gonna be nice. We have a lot of headlights coming down towards the first chicane in the GT3 class. They're all pretty close. It's a little bit of a move there in the background. Who's that? Adam Hedgecock is being overtaken, right? That's a
I
black
think by
Ferrari.
By Thomas or Victor Roman, Thomas Amos. They're all running around at the back there. 21, 22, 23, of course. Their class are a little bit further up.
They're really close here in the GT3. It's gonna be interesting to see how much the slipstream is gonna affect these cars. It's always gonna come into play when you have long straights, but sometimes it's easier to catch up to the people in front than some of the other tracks.
You could just touch out and reach the car. Give it a polish while you're at it, my friend, if you're going to be that close. This is a challenge for the lead of the race, and that's James in the white car, and they're Italian in the right-hand side.
On the outside going into Indianapolis, it is possible to do so. If you manage to make it stick, Lorenzo doesn't manage to make it stick, it's going to be overtaken once again by James Ibram. It's going to be the leading car as to come.
Oh, the gap he got away soon, immediately. So it seems to be he's got a race pace on pretty good there for James. That's Frank now. Frank Smith's in P3. To see if he can repeat the same process that James just did to take the lead of this race. And remember, his teammate, the Italian's teammate, is Izzo. He's trying to make his way back up after he got a slowdown. He's currently at P5.
The Håkon staying in his P4 position. He snatched P4.
Aiden Young. You want to see
away from
Aiden
Frank
Young
Smith
at the moment?
beginning.
And Aiden Young just made a move there, right? Oh, it's not just done yet, but that's Aiden Young and Wessel. Wesy, side by side, the other Wes.
I know, how confusing.
Did he get it done, the young American driver?
Yeah, he's got him.
I think
He's
so.
definitely got him.
Yeah. So a good overtake there, and further action, of course, back as you went on to the. Well, keep an eye on that one. That's still battle for the P2 at the moment. So yes, what happened there to James then? What did James make a mistake? Because he's dropped back a couple of places now.
Yeah, he must have made a mistake in the last chicane. We have it here quickly. Let's have a little look.
You might, yeah, because you had a little bit of a lead. This is where he's gone deep.
Yeah.
Yeah, there it is. And at that level,
yeah.
almost lost second place, but managed to get the power on.
Might even be flawed.
Also, there's
yeah,
battle brewing, of course. If you could go back to the GT3s around 16th, 17th, and 18th, I think. Yep, all around here. I'm seeing a couple of exchanges of Christmas cards early.
little side-by-side action as you come through turn 1. Alessio is next to... Who's Alessio next to? Is it Rick? Or is it Ryan?
It was Rick. Ryan's got a slowdown, though. Ryan's got a slowdown on the exit at turn 1. Turn 2, even, sorry.
That's gonna hurt him a lot. So they still are really close. At the beginning of this second lap, coming onto the Mulsanne straight here in a minute.
Oh, he's turned him! Oh, in front of the pack! Oh, that's unfortunate.
Unfortunate contact from yeah, from the Scottish driver and the Norwegian driver Ryan. Here we get it again. They're going side by side through the final corners before the Mulsanne straight, which is really difficult to go side by side, and it is possible, but you just get pulled towards the outside of the track, and if you're not ready for that, then contact is, of course, inevitable.
Yeah, so that's
really
basically race over Ryan and Christian. That's really unfortunate. All down to a slowdown. Here we go. It's getting a bit crazy for, I think this is P4. Are they pushing? Is he pushing him?
And bump drafting in an LMP2. I was prepared for some crazy scenes here at Le Mans, but I think that was the last thing I was expecting to see. Side by side for the lead here. James managing to pull back. Oh, still side by side with Lorenzo. Lorenzo managing to pull ahead. Can James get a move done before they go into the Porsche chicane? He tries to go around the outside, looks like, or is at least defending the P3. That is Frank. Really good race here from Frank. Oh, he's still around the outside.
He's spinning in the background. Frank's spinning in front of everybody. Oh no!
He stopped in the middle of the track. I think it's going to be a safety car. I can only imagine that's a safety car.
They've all collected him. There's nowhere they could go. Oh no!
Oh, that is so unfortunate for Frank. I just mentioned how well he was doing. Coming back
Oh, he
from
clips the
P5.
grass.
Yeah. And there's just nothing you can do in such a tight sector.
How did Hakon get through that?
Unfortunate for him to stop in the middle of the racing line in such a fast corner. It's a little blind as well. You can see on the left side there's a bit of a fence that you can't see past when you come through the first 2 corners in the Porsche straight, and you're so on the edge that there's nothing you can do.
Oh, wow. What did I just miss?
Alexander trying to make through, and he just can't do anything.
This is what you just. This is what you just missed.
To do.
Hang on, let's try and find it again.
This is a 3-car pileup?
Yeah, P3 spins from third, right in front of everybody else.
Yeah, nowhere to go. Bang, passengers at that point.
Does Dylan hit the wall, or did he get away with it? I think Dylan gets away with it. Hakon managed to avoid it all.
Very slight tap.
Yeah.
But Dylan there.
Oh.
Yeah, that's Frank Smits, unfortunately.
And Izzo was coming back through the field.
So it's not completely over, but I think any hopes for Alessandro to take a win out
Yeah.
of this race today is probably gone down the drain, which is really unfortunate for Alessandro. He's, of course, gonna mention once again, he's the championship leader for the LMP2s. Currently
So
with
2 battles
100
brewing right
points
here.
more.
Battle for the lead and a little bit further back. Battle for P5, I think it is. But here we go. It should be the classic overtake done. Obviously using that slipstream down the main straightaway. There's the battle a little bit behind. Courtesy of our director. Wes got that one hooked up perfectly. Aiden Young there. Makes his way
Aiden
past
Young
Sebastian.
in a battle with Wessel and Sebastian right behind him. Sebastian, he had a really good start. Was up into P4, had that slowdown, got down into P9, I believe. He's now in P6, battling for P4 once again with, of course, Wes and Aiden. Some lovely racing we can look forward to. But yeah, just quickly going back to my point here, as we see some cars disappearing. Lorenzo is actually P2 in the championship, just behind Alessandro, so he might be able to take the lead here after this race. Of course, if everything goes to plan. Still about 15 minutes left for Lorenzo to have some kind of incident.
Oh, 3 here.
3 wide.
Yeah, this could get nasty.
Looks like Aiden is the one coming out on top of this battle. Wessel in the middle, and Sebastian, fortunately, still having to stay behind. Really close racing between these 3 divers. It's lovely to see. Nothing is over yet. There's a lot of slipstream still to be had. With Wessel want to do something when they go to the Porsche curves. Doesn't look like he has the gap to do anything about it, really. Sebastian may have, he's right behind, but it's going to be thinking the better of it. Waiting for the Mulsanne straight. It's going to be coming up in about a minute time from where they are now. Taking it a bit slow through the Porsche.
Yes,
curves
Sebastian,
as well.
could you get a longer name, please? I think we you don't have enough characters in there. It's, Van der Hoeven?
I think
Is it
his middle
Hoeven?
name is George. Just to make it a bit more complex. Yeah, Sebastian van den Heuvel.
Good luck in filling that out on your immigration card to the country. Have enough spaces for it, but anyway. Let's see. Dutch names. You can't
Extended
pronounce them, but I
passport.
love them.
Another nice side-by-side battle here between Rick and Richard, sorry. And is it Victor that's right behind him? It's really difficult to see in the standings here. No, it's Adam and Richard.
I'm just surprised. I didn't think there's that many people in the Netherlands, but I'd have to say almost every single person, 1 out of every 3 somebody in the Netherlands must be sitting on a rig somewhere playing a racing game simulator. Because there's so many in so many different leagues. You don't have that much of a population, do you? Here's side by side battle bot for the No
Still
Limit Sim
have 18
Racing.
million people living in the country.
There you go. So at least 4, 5, 6 million right now are playing Sims online racing and real racing, of course, too.
For the Dutch people to participate in safety racing, as we have a message from the race control.
Is that the incident before where they spun and caused that accident?
Car 86. That is Ryan
Yeah,
Martin.
Ryan Martin.
Yeah, that's this one. I don't know if you were here for this one. Biggles, I'll quickly go find it for you so you can have a look at why.
Yeah, I don't remember seeing that was a GT3.
Oh, looks like Sebastian's gonna pull a gap here on Aiden. Coming into the
Yeah.
chicane on Mulsanne Straight, he is getting through, and that's P5 for Sebastian. Currently going a little bit wide.
So just
no,
like
he
that,
actually
yeah.
got it right.
It's exchanging of that slipstream, isn't it? Because Aiden was leading them about a lap ago, and now it's switched all around. So now it's Wessel.
Yeah, Wes actually putting a pretty nice gap. If Aiden thinks a bit of it, he's just gonna tell Sebastian that they're gonna work together. Doesn't look like Aiden really wants to get that P4. He'd rather try and get his P5 back. Lovely shots here of the LMP2 car.
This was the
If I ever get it
incident
right. Yeah.
for
Okay.
Ace for why Ryan's got a penalty.
So he's gone in too deep here, and has he hit the back?
Notice how
Yeah.
wide Christian is gone as well.
Ooh.
On the vision, he's actually off the
Oh.
track as Ryan hits him.
Yeah.
course, we have to be unbiased in the short group, but I think it's
they'll
a
look
fair
at the
penalty
different.
to give out.
Well, yeah, they'll look at the post-race
For
penalty to do
Scottish.
that, but they look at them over different angles, of course. And they also, you got to remember too, we don't see it, but they are looking at other incidents that might have occurred before. There could have been a little bit of bumping and grinding, but in a lap or two before between the two drivers, you don't know, between another driver, and they take that into consideration as well, because sometimes these things heat up over a couple of laps, and we only see the final result and not how it brewed before. But we can see this battle brewing, of course, once again, between Vessel, Eden Young there, and Sebastian. Battle up the road there for P1 and P2 is about within a second gap, which is close, and then Harkin's having a bit of a lonely race by himself, which is a good race sometimes you want with a Norwegian driver. Don't have to be worrying too much about somebody in your mirrors.
Always nice to be in the podium positions, but if you are that far behind your closest competitor behind and being dropped a little bit by P1 and 2, then it's you're a bit in no man's land, right?
Yeah, but he
It-
can sit there and
it feel-
probably
it
hope
feels like
because
you're
it is getting close, of
stagnation
course. That is getting heating up again to about half a second between 1 and 2, but that I can just sit there and say, okay, you guys can maybe take each other out. I'll sneak on by and get that P1. You never know. Of course, it doesn't want that. You actually want to be racing people on track, but he's in the position to clean up on Indianapolis, Le Mans, if they do make a mistake. Still plenty of time, but we are looking at about 45 minutes left, and here's a incident for warning reprimand. Slowing on the racing line. It's number 5 and 8. Number 5 is
That's the leaders.
this driver right here. Yes,
Just the
This is,
leaders are being told off for serving slowdowns on the racing line. So yeah, interesting there. I'm not sure. Okay.
But this is a battle that's brewing, and Harkin may barely just be able to see that down the main straightaway. Yes, he will. There's Harkin coming out of the corner here, but this is a battle for P1 and P2. It's been brewing for a while there. It's the UK versus Italy here in France. Who's going to come out on top? Just a switcheroo again, I guess, because of that mighty slipstream. It's almost like a DRS activation zone, isn't it? In Formula One, you just breeze on by a little bit. Looks, if you time it right, it looks pretty easy. But of course, what goes around comes around, because you've got many, many corners to try that one back again.
It looks really easy to play around with the slipstream, but you have to time it perfectly in order to make it work right. If you pull out too early, then then you lose all of your momentum. You only have that top end advantage because you are in the slipstream, so that's why you have to still stay close a little bit behind the leading
Aiden
car,
Young now.
Sebastian and Aiden here.
Now, it just reminds me
scrubbing
when
it
I
out.
see on the middle of the roads there, because these are public roads too, aren't they? But you see those arrows in the middle there that tell you there's a corner coming up in the center line? I saw that just the other day on GeoGuessr, and I was wondering what country that is. I've never seen it and realised, well, obviously...
Have you not seen it?
France.
Have it in the
I've never seen
UK.
that before. Is that? Oh, okay.
Yeah, have it in the
I've
UK
never
as
seen
well. Yeah, if there's
But
a...
you guys need like racing lines or lines
No,
to tell you where
well,
the corner's coming up?
No, it's to tell you that you should, if you're overtaking, you must get back in your lane before then, because it's about to be somewhere you
Oh, really?
can't
Is
see.
that what it is?
Yeah, so
Oh, okay.
before hills, they have arrows telling you that like it's okay to overtake like a bicycle and stuff like that until you get to a certain point where you can no longer see what's coming. They crashed! The leaders have crashed!
Oh!
No.
And this is probably what I was saying about Harkin having to sit there behind comfortably in P3, because now he should be able to zoom on by. And will they get back out ahead of Wes in that other battle? No, so they're going to be behind. There they go, zooming by. Aiden Young and all that should be around there too to get back on the track and cool yourself down. I'm sure there's a bit of Italian and maybe some British being shouted in those cars.
Wow. I want to point out something quickly. How quick was James to put that car in reverse? Let's have a little watch of this
Yeah,
crash.
he just flew.
Didn't he? He just put it straight reverse.
I think he had it reversed
thinking
before he was
there's no
hitting
way
the
that's
wall.
that much momentum
Yeah, he definitely had it
coming out of
reverse.
the wall.
So this is there.
It
No,
looks like
that's
Lorenzo. He's just sticking his nose in a little bit too late. It looked like. Oh yeah, it's really.
yeah. No, he had
That's-
it. I think he had it in
that's
reverse while
rapid.
the car was going forward. So he already knew that he was going head onto the wall. And
Can you do that without breaking the engine though? Because
I
of
don't
course
know.
the wheels are still spinning.
Maybe. So what do you about? That's definitely going to Stuart's going to have to look at this
Yeah.
over and over.
He does.
you're
Look,
right.
he already has it in reverse before he's hit the wall.
Yeah.
And just for the viewers, if you look at the steering wheel, you can see in the middle where it says 6543. Look at it when it goes reverse. Yeah, reverse there.
Yeah, he
into
did.
the wall.
You would
Pedal
well
to the
engine up
middle,
doing that
go
where
out,
you'd smash
try
your
and gain
gearbox,
what
wouldn't
you
you, if you
lost.
did that?
I don't think you would be able to do. I don't think you would be thinking that in real life. I think you would be looking at the wall and thinking, "Fuck."
Oh,
Well,
yeah,
no,
no.
times.
He might have
In a
the.
Point it
single
straight at,
second.
you would probably point it straight at the wall. You'd take your hands off the wheel too, of course. Otherwise, you get a big jar on your arm and wrist.
Oh yeah, yeah. I don't think I would be shifting gears, neither. But James is still in P4.
But I tell you one thing he didn't do here at Anti-Stall Racing is stall. That's why it's anti-stall racing. You can't stall
Yeah.
in anti-stall racing. It's impossible.
I'm wearing the shirt now.
He got shirts.
I got an orange shirt. Yeah.
Perhaps you should get some more merch. Maybe a little bit of a coup weight. I'm not.
So, well, these three here, obviously from the Boosted Motorsport team, I presume, they're all similar liveries.
Not all of them. Sorry, just Tim. The other two are the Leos. But yeah, they're similar colours. They're on the same colours.
Similar cars too.
The car behind of Victor Rowan has just crashed apparently. P4.
And he's all alone, Spaniard, the Aspar Esports racing team, and comes up the corners. He's gone a little bit too wide here. Thrown it in. Lost the rear there. Bang.
Oh,
That's a heavy
that's
impact.
big.
But lucky he's got a recovery vehicle right there to help him if he needs it.
Really smart of him to get moving quickly. He was stranded in the middle of the track, and that's never something you want to do, especially not in a high-speed corner like the turn 1 in the Porsche curves.
So
Might
I
be
think
a
that
car
investigation
track.
before that they said no further action. It was a 55 car, I think. Wasn't that Frank Smith's that caused that pile up? Frank Smith's?
Yes. Yes.
Frank,
yeah. So they deemed that was just a racing incident, so they
Yeah,
no
that-
penalty for that.
That makes sense. That's fair. I'd say.
As a gamer, you know touch grass intentionally, so
Anymore. James kept going off that. Don't think he pitted, did he? It's telling
No,
me he hasn't. No. So I wonder. He
Well-
surely got damaged. No. Like he hit,
do you
he hit
wanna
the
go-
I
wall.
was wondering the same.
Go on, yeah, jump on board there and have a look at the cockpit view. We can see if they got the steering bent or something like that. Once he gets on straight away.
I think if we can get a shot of his... Doesn't look like he has any steering damage, but he should have aero damage to the front of his car.
Yeah, it looks pointing
Unless he's
straight,
been
yeah.
Really quick in the pit lane. He is going into pit lane now, following Sebastian too.
Looks alright, doesn't it?
Using every single centimeter of the track.
Well, you said that,
the
isn't it?
pit
Pit lane entrance, you can gain a lot
Ah.
of time.
Can gain a lot of time.
Post race penalty of 5 seconds for car number 5, which was and is Lorenzo. I guess that's for that crash.
Yeah, so they deemed that Lorenzo was the one at fault for that.
I don't think that's too much for Lorenzo to complain about there.
But it's a post-race penalty, so it's not the end of the world, especially when you got 38 minutes left of a race.
Yeah, it's 5 seconds. Just have to time the slipstreams right, and you'll be fine. I say just have to time. It's gonna be really difficult to do around Le Mans if you have someone that's just within reach of your own lap time. Håkan goes out on track. He's in P1 now, but he's still in that little bit of a no man's land zone where he's about 6 seconds in front of P2. Still having to put in the lap times to keep his lead, but there's nothing to catch up to. Can get a bit boring. As
So
boring as it is,
seven
speed
laps on a gas tank, you'd say, is about what these LMPs can do.
Yeah, that's what they've just done there. Yeah, 7 laps it seems.
We should see a
So-
two-stopper.
Yeah, it's definitely a 2, isn't it, around here? I don't think anyone's going to be trying the 1. I'll be surprised.
Yeah, no.
Well, it might even be a 3, because that's 20 minutes for one pit stop. We got an hour race. You're going to have to stretch that second stint out.
I think we'll have to follow Sebastian a little bit throughout this second stint. I think if you time your slipstream correctly, and you manage to fuel save enough to well, save that little bit of extra fuel, you'll be able to time it pretty well. Not only do you have to fuel less, but you might actually be able to do the 2-stopper if as you say, the a 3-stopper is inevitable.
I like the rear wing there. It just says keep calm. All the cars behind there Victor can read is keep calm while he's just stuck behind him. Fantastic. So the GT3s are now starting to pit as well, I believe. So they're at similar range as well, it turns out. Didn't realise they were these. I didn't expect them to be the exact same lap pitting wise, but apparently they are.
How's the temperature? I'm sure the track's heating up at the moment. As we're seeing a couple of the Italian drivers with the Porsches hitting the pit lane. Yeah, what are we looking at?
24, 25?
Track temp, yeah. 25 for the track temp. That should probably increase as the that big ball of helium and nitrogen burns higher in the sky. Well, it's not moving. We're moving around it.
Isn't it? Hang on, what? Yeah.
This one.
Yeah.
We're moving
I was like, what?
into it more.
Just threw me completely for a second. I was like, what's he just said?
I thought he was talking about the blimp for a second.
I was like, oh, wait, what? Oh, right. Yeah.
Did you forget that big thing in the middle of our solar system? It's
Nah,
made of helium
it's been
nitrogen.
so long since I learned science in school.
Hydrogen and helium, yeah.
But if I give him a moment, forgetting the sun exists.
I thought it was just a light that turns on every morning.
It's just a big lamp we have above our planet, isn't it?
Yeah. Someone's got to get up and change the light bulb every once in a while when it burns out.
Yeah. That's why we have night.
That's why we have NASA. That's what they do secretly every once in a while. They get up there and change it up. Switch it up. Yeah, exactly. That's at night time. That's when they replace the bulb every
That's
12
actually
hours
what
or so.
astronauts do. Anyway, still some nice battle going out on track. It's Dylan here battling a little bit with Aiden. Aiden Young dropped like pretty far actually. He's right behind Sebastian early on, and West of course when had a little bit of a battle there. 3 people battling for P4, I believe it was.
He did, and this could be a part of that fuel saving strategy that you kind of mentioned as well.
Yeah.
He's going to look at just doing a 2-stopper and not a 3.
Yeah, but of course there's some fuel saving coming into it. But don't you think that he's dropped back a little bit too far? Because
Well, he's getting a tow
He
bar,
can still do it.
so that's probably okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. Could have made an error somewhere too that we've.
I'd personally rather fuel save behind the competitors in front of me. If
I think he pitted twice.
Aiden Young
Already?
has not pitted twice. Only once.
Only once? No? Okay, interesting. I'm trying to work out.
I'd be amazed if Aiden has pitted twice and still P8.
I'm trying to work out why he's lost so much time then. I can't.
I'm just scroll back and see if there's any off track.
Yeah, I'm just trying to find anything with his name on it, but
I
I could
can't
imagine a
imagine.
little bit of a slowdown would have helped him drop back as well.
but he's all I can find so far is him passing people. So I don't know where he's lost this time. Unless
Yeah,
it
that's
was
right,
going
that's-
into the pits or something. Maybe he's just.
Yeah, he could have missed his pit box, right?
Yeah.
And that's something that people have done before in the past. It looks like Wessel's had a
yeah.
crash somewhere, mate.
Oh, there he is.
Oh, there it is. Yeah.
Ooh.
Vessel, sorry.
Oh yeah, you don't like to see that.
There's Aiden going past right now and the other driver, and so they're going a couple of places. And
A little bit
What's
of
hap- oh,
replay
yeah,
going
it's
to
just-
checking chicane. Just loses it. Looks like he has a bit of understeer as he comes through the first corner, and then there's not much for him to do. Can't really turn right if the car
Is that
says no. I'm going left.
I'm just looking at that GT car that's in the background there that was yellow, and I thought that has to be a Brazilian driver. What's that overtake up the road there too? There's double overtakes here, so that's the 93 and the 8. That's James trying to crawl his way back up. Remember, James Himber was leading this race until they had a little bit of a come together moment. That's Sebastian on the right hand side, and I think that might be job done for him. Well, we'll see whether or not that GT can come into play. Nope. They're going to be tucking in behind before, and then in the background there, Aiden not making the overtake just yet. But happy to sit back there for the 423 car. Let's see if this GT3 can come into play here as these two are battling.
Definitely impeding them a little bit as we go through. But I had to double check. Is that Arnash? That's a real question. Let me get a track map going here.
Yeah, once again, they're going to be approaching a breaking point here.
Arnash.
Yep. On the inside, Neo's flashing. Why is he flashing at the moment? Trying to throw him off? I don't understand. That's Sebastian flashing because
he's a notorious flasher. That's the only thing I can say about that one. I have to be careful though. I might get banned from my racing if he does it too much. But
burn the bulbs out.
was it Charlie Lord, our TCR driver, that was
We go in the pits, dummied in the pit lane entrance there. See that? Well, they shouldn't be. Up the road there, yes, that's Mr. Izol.
Yeah, he's going into the pit lane.
Yeah, he has his first pit stop, I believe.
Yeah.
Last of the pit stoppers too for the LMP, so he could definitely now, and halfway through this race, go, do a one-stop. That would have to be pretty much a gimme in that.
Is this not his second? He must have had one right after
a crash from Luigi, the other Italian driver, and Porsche 79 car. What's happened here? Saw him before here for the Leo Racing team behind. So has he gone too deep here?
I think we're on board with Luigi. Might just have had some kind of 1x somewhere out there. Get the replay.
Yeah, this is another one. Victor. Roman. Is this a carbon copy of what he did before? Somebody did that one before. I'm sure if it was Victor.
Oh, yeah, on the top there was a
Lewis, I think. Yeah, Lewis Gregg, I think. Yeah, he was a...
That's Lewis Gregg. Okay, I thought it was... is his name Christian Glomseller?
No, this is Louis.
Yeah, Louis just doing his own thing here, and then of course got somewhere to go. Bang! That's a difficult one. It's like a left or right, left or right. I think he took it a second to think about left or right, and it's too late at that speed.
Yeah.
I think you got to somehow just commit to the racing line or something like that. As soon as you go over, like, as soon as you start doubting yourself, then that's it. It's too late. Easier said than done. I wasn't in the car at 300k an hour.
Yeah. Always difficult when you have a car that's moving a little bit after he's had a touch with the wall.
So if that's when you need a really sharp spotter, isn't it? Like your spotter has to basically go on your ear immediately and say left, 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 something like that, you know?
Yeah, definitely.
Like within a millisecond of that. But you got to have a spotter that's sharp as. See whether or not.
First thing is that you got to have a spotter. I don't think many of these guys have spotters as you go around the lap. We have another message here from Rick.
That could be a service, couldn't it? Actually, from one of the sponsors out there or something like that. Like, would you like a sponsor, a spotter for your driving? Then you know you can rent a spotter.
So that message is a drive-through penalty for climb
for 91.
Yeah, for the I think incident we just saw. And that is a pass and a half there.
Will that be Luigi?
That's Victor.
Oh yeah, Victor. Sorry, yeah, not Luigi. Yep, you're right about that one. Yeah, I think is it an unsafe rejoin? Was it classified as that?
I think so, due to the fact that he was in the wall and he spun the car back straight onto the line.
Not holding his brakes.
Yeah, basically.
I think that's what they're judging it on. Anyway, Wessel managing to stay in front of Aiden here. P6, he's not lost too much time. Of course, that little incident a few laps ago in the second chicane in the Malta straight, but still managing to keep up pretty well with Dylan, who's right in front of him.
We might want to go back to this battle that's brewing as well, too, between Tim Perry and Luigi. That's in the GT3s. They're getting pretty spicy as well. There it is. So they've been kind of following each other for a little bit, but they're getting closer and closer. But yeah, sorry, you might have to go back to the other battle as well, too, between the Dutch drivers of Dylan Vezel. Dylan's actually getting close to Sebastian, too, for a battle for P4 with the LMPs. That's brewing. So two battles pretty close and 2 different classes, and there it is. C. So Vessel and Dylan. Dylan Wonderlands. Now we haven't seen too much of him actually, haven't we, in the 420 car? Which is a good thing, I say.
The name
sometimes.
doesn't ring a bell. No. I think it's a different Dylan I'm thinking about, not anything that's related to ASR. Get a little bit of a picture here from Sebastian.
Look how close this is. You could reach out and touch the car. Now, how are you going to spot your braking point on this one? You've really got to be bold and brave to know. You see he lifted off a little early because he's like, all right, I can't. I mean, we're not Siamese twins. There's no way I'm going to be able to predict that one perfectly. That's one of the closest I've ever seen between 2 LMP cars like that. That's amazing.
Is that what you call getting in your competitors' mirrors?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, literally, that's like bump drafting in NASCAR or something like that.
Funny thing is that the LMP2s are not as...
This is interesting
big
here
as it
too,
may
because
look.
look at this. These guys are battling, and the LMP wants to get past them. That's the LMP of James, I believe. So, yep, luckily, they don't want to lose time, no doubt, because they're in their own fight. But of course, you've got to yield to a faster car. And at the moment, it could be approaching this corner with the 73 car down the road there.
I don't think they have to
93, there it
yield for faster cars. I think in
this is where you got to be
IMSA,
careful, sorry, as the LMP as well, because you don't want to be involved in this battle.
No, really want to be there. It's always a bit hairy when you have 2 GT3s battling in front of you. You just want to get away from your competitors. But I think when we have these multi-class races, you of course have these situations where you have GT3s fighting each other. And of course they don't want to yield, because then you're just going to allow
because he wants to make it overtake, and the LMP's on the inside. This is going to be... It gets it done. Absolutely timed perfectly in the traffic, and that's what some drivers can do very, very well. And other drivers also, it's always a bit of a risk to close your eyes and hope.
It looked like Luigi pulled out a bit late in front of the whistle as well.
Yeah,
but
that's the
made it
thing
out.
too. That's actually, you see it as a part of a good endurance team generally, like in the Mans and stuff like that. The teams that have, I think, sometimes are a little bit more patient, those the LMPs against the GTs, like if they see those battles, they don't necessarily try to take them into a corner first. They might just let them enter the corner and then exit. That's what you see with some of the consistent teams, and then you see the teams that go, we're going to go for it because we're the faster car, and then bang, all of a sudden they're involved in an accident and they're racing, well, a few laps down after that, after some repairs. So that's what I mean. You got, so if they're long races, you don't want to risk it for the biscuit too much. You might lose a second or two on a lap, but if you're talking 24 hours, that's not a lot of time to lose.
No, it's funny you mentioned it. It sounds like every single iRacing endurance race I've done, especially when we talk about the GT cars and LMPs that's being mixed together. Always seems like the LMPs are a bit too aggressive, or at least some of them are. And personally had a nice race at Petit Le Mans. I ended up doing pretty well in, and our goal for the race, as we talked about, was that we were just gonna try and be nice to GTs, and perhaps they would be nice to us as well. In the end, of course, when you have a 10-hour race, it's inevitable that you're gonna have some hairy moments, but generally we try to keep it pretty clean, and compared to some of our competitors that clipped it a bit more dirty, we had a pretty good race. So it's just about being patient, being nice to each other, respect that other cars have a race as well.
Hey,
and
there's my
try
KFC to the right.
Oh, yeah. The KFC next to the stadium. Yeah.
You're right. But then again, you got to remember, like, 90% of the accidents are actually between the 2 different classes or 3 different classes, depending on that, and generally not that much. The other 10% would be accidents between both the classes. And then the other, small percentage, of course, that you have, well, that occurs where you're just coming around a corner at full speed and somebody's already spun ahead of you and bang, you're straight into him. And Harkin is leading this race and has just gone straight off, but he still has a little bit of a gap. Oh, actually, he's just lost that place right there. So Lorenzo now takes the lead of this race.
Oh, yeah. You're absolutely right.
He must have got he might have got a slowdown after that as well, because didn't see Lorenzo scoot on by there, but no doubt because he went off track, he most likely Harkin Krebstab had had to slow down. Harken Grabstad, of course, is at an IndyCar Racing Series. And on Mondays, doing quite well in that series too, the Norwegian. Let's have a look at this battle still resuming. You can see the rear end kicks out a little bit there, doesn't it, of Dylan.
Lorenzo's gone completely under the radar for me. He had the incident early on with James. I thought he was out of this race, having to pit for damage and everything, but apparently that's not a problem for him. He's made it back into P1 with James in P3.
It's the quiet achievers on the tracks, the ones that do the results, ones where you don't have to show the camera on them because they're not involved in side-by-side actions and stuff like that.
No, of course not. If you're able to make your way through nice and smoothly, that's no real need for us to show what they're doing.
We're down to about
We'll end
20
up in
20
P1.
minutes. Yeah, about 20 minutes remaining in this race. Probably we'll see in the next 5. Do you think, guys, 5 to maybe 10 minutes of second stop there for the LMPs? We'll
Yeah, I think. Yeah, then if not the next lap, then
right now,
lap
for
after
one.
that. Yep. Lorenzo going into the pits now. Please.
Okay, so it's not a bad idea, I'd say, because soon you want to do it. You don't want to leave it too late, otherwise you're not going to take advantage of that situation to try to get any overtakes once you get the pace back up. Do you think they're going to take tyres as well as just fuel?
No, I don't think it'll be
it's just
taking
fuel.
tires.
Oh, there's a spin out of the corner there, and that's from James. We have James that was in P1 after the first couple of laps, so fighting it out with the Italians. Now dropping down another place or two.
They had a great race, managed to get up into P3, but that's done and dusted. At least for
Literally
now.
dust coming out of the back of the car. Yeah, and that's frustrating to wait, but patient to wait. Lucky nobody ran wide coming out of that corner as well, too. Others would have been straight into the front of the British driver.
Really lucky that he managed to spin out in the gravel.
And that's
I don't
his
imagine what's
opportunity
like
for a pit
20
lane entrance, too. It was unavailable to him, isn't it? 'Cause,
I
by the
don't
way, how
think you're
come
allowed to go
this-
across the track there.
How come our driver here, the number 88 car, doesn't have number 88 written on his stickers? Has he peeled that off? Don't see it.
Oh, they're white. His number is white, so
The numbers are white on a white background. All right. So he obviously paid attention in design school. Why didn't you make him red 88s? Would look better. Anyway.
Oh, yellow. No, black.
No,
maybe.
they're too hard to see.
don't think-
You
I
didn't
don't
pay
think yellow
attention
is
in design school either.
No, I think I skipped all the classes.
Yeah, the colours, you have to make sure that they are visible. Here we go. Once again, are we going to see this bump drafting? We certainly are.
Background.
Give him a push.
Little touch on the back.
Yeah, you make sure he doesn't do it into the corner, but
Yeah, no, that's, then he wouldn't have been participating in the overtaking classes.
so he's not swinging the side to overtake. Not just yet. He's happy to sit there and get this draft. Once again, could be fuel saving a lot by doing it. Also risky too, as these two are at it again.
Always a little bit of mind games that goes into it when you're right behind your competitors. You can try and force them into mistakes as well. Still about 20 minutes left of the race, so there's no real need to push anything. And even if you just manage to get past, he's going to be overtaking right away with the slips from Dylan.
It's like the teammate
Right,
there
so-
in the different classes going past, so it's a similar livery. Aiden Young's come off track after coming out of the pit lanes a little bit before that. What happened with Aiden? I think he's still okay because he's running in P9, but come off track somewhere around here. Maybe he's
Looks like
gone straight on.
into
Yeah, we go.
turn, as first you can, yeah. Well, yeah,
Yes.
so he does the same as
Haken.
Håkon. Yeah.
Yeah, and I can say on the lead of this race because did we see Lorenzo
pitted
boxed? Yeah, that's right.
last
Lorenzo
lap,
boxed.
Yeah. That's why we're seeing Sebastian in P2 as well. Would be very surprised if he manages to keep the P2 after his hit.
I don't know why he was flashing. Ooh, a little bit too deep there. I don't know why the why was that Harken flashing up the road? No,
Sebastian,
like
right?
he'd already overtaken. I already took the drive, and then he was flashing after.
Yeah.
That's Sebastian. You're right. Yeah, Sebastian. That's it. Because he said he does like using the The little
A
trigger
notorious
behind the
flasher,
steering wheel.
Yeah, you should see all of the LMPs coming into the pit lane now. He's in the first one to come through.
Yep. Harkins in. Oh, we almost didn't make it into
yeah,
the
no,
pit
that was
lane.
really wide from Dylan. Does he make it
Yeah.
before? Yeah, still makes it before.
It is a tricky, and that's in the background there. That is also Mr. James going in. So battle of the pit stops now for the LMPs. You can gain some time depending on how much fuel you're going to put on, all right? And if you're doing
a little
any
bit of time, yeah, especially with
repairs
fuel saving.
or not. Let's see if Lorenzo, can get an overtake done here. They're still in the pit lane. The pit exit at the moment there for the Norwegian driver. This could be close. This could be very close. He's got to get the power down. Remember, Lorenzo's at full speed. Lorenzo does get past and takes the lead of this race back again.
Yeah, the Norwegians get to get some temperatures into the tires. Of course, going to be a little cold after sitting in the pit lane for a few seconds. But it's still right on the tail of Lorenzo, so I don't think
So the undercut
anything
paid
is
off, didn't it, for the Lorenzo by boxing a lap earlier? I think it was.
Yeah, but he was in front before they started pitting as well. Just a little bit. I didn't really monitor the gap by a second. I think it's about the same gap they had before, right? It's going to be interesting to see how Håkan is going to do. He didn't really seem to have that much pace on the second stint. Of course, he's still in P2, so he has great pace. But compared to Lorenzo, I think he's lagging just ever so slightly. We're going to see. He's about 10th behind, so I think the slipstream is not going to be too difficult. It looks like Wes and Sebastian is having a nice little battle here.
Yeah,
as they make the best out of the LMP sandwich.
Oh,
just gets in front of the Porsche.
Yeah, and it's actually got a very slow exit there. The Porsche had to actually lift off. Porsche had more speed coming out of the exit corner there, and that's still, I don't know if Vesel's going to overtake yet. Just no, it looks like he's much faster. He's looking to try to find a way around Sebastian the best way he can. Just happy to sit there and give him a toe. Push. He's done that a few times as he hits. Oh, there it is.
Oh no, Wes,
yeah, a little bit too close into the corner. Unless that witch's hat threw him off, didn't it? I was in the middle of the road.
Yeah. I was about to say you have to be really careful with bump drafting in the LMP2 cars because it's just a little too much teppy on there off your competitor goes, and that's exactly what happened. I think he's going to get
absolutely. That's the 422 car and the 93, and they're going to be under investigation. And I'd have to say I wouldn't be surprised if that is not a post-race penalty for Vesel.
Yeah. Question if it's a 5 or 10 second. Because he's been doing it the entire race, Wesley. Of course,
they might even be harder on the penalty, right? Because he's been doing it so much and he's been lucky to get away with it. But they might have been, or at least maybe they could have even been saying, I don't know if it's allowed in the rules, but to say, hey, you might have to back off on those as a warning for you, before this inevitable accident happened.
Would have been giving him warnings before that if they could justify saying that you've been doing this before, and now you're doing it again, and now it goes bad.
It's too much, is it? There it is. So they've deemed it a 10-second post-race penalty. You're right, and I agree. It's a little harder than the 5, but it had to be because once again he'd been doing it before, and it was only a matter of time before something was going to happen because you're going to have lightning quick, ridiculous skills to
and it's also
off.
Just that he's braking way too late going into a braking zone, right? Yeah.
It's a little bit of. I can get past both.
It's good.
Yes, he did. Lorenzo.
That's incredible. That's a really well managed situation there with traffic. Incredible racing from Håkan, managing to get past, but still.
Yeah, and that's traffic as well too. Remember, that is an LMP passing, not a GT.
He's still about 15 minutes left to try and fend Lorenzo off. I think it's going to be really difficult for the Norwegian driver, but if anybody can do it, I think it is Håkan. As you mentioned, he's a pretty keen IndyCar driver. He does pretty well in that series as well, and has been doing really well.
Give him a fast car, mate. He was in the Formula One, the W12s before. Of course, Indy this season now is in LMP. Just give him 4 wheels and a steering wheel, and he can drive it.
Certainly not an unfamiliar face at the top of the standings in any kind of series, really.
And there it is. So he could be, you don't want to let the Italian pull away at the moment now. Just to sit behind there and take that slipstream, because once again, if you let Lorenzo get up the road too far, then the P1 chances may very well be over. Because you can't separate these two, can you? Like even in the pit lane, they box at the same time. Or
talking about things being over, Sebastian has now dropped back to 6th position. I'm wondering if he doesn't look like he has pitted a 3rd time, so he'll just be running around with a little bit of damage from the contact he made with Wessel. Not too far off Wessel neither. About 5 seconds off Wessel, so might be able to get that P5.
Haken going for it. He is.
Oh, yep.
I'm just wondering if it's too soon. 10 minutes to go, so he's going to make an exit out of the corner. He's going to hand that position back.
Nice switch wheel there from Lorenzo as well.
So
it's just a difficult corner to overtake in as well, isn't it?
I mean, if I was Grebstad, I would just sit for a bit and study Lorenzo. But he's saying Biggle stuff. Forget it. I know what I'm doing. He's like, shut up, Biggles. I know what I'm doing. Just like Kimi Räikkönen used to do. But then, but I thought he'd be better. Now, we've talked about this before, Neil and Wes. Like some drivers like to be the chaser, some drivers like to be the ones chased. It just depends on how you like that situation.
Yeah, there's benefits to both sides of it, aren't there? I personally find that chasing people is a little easier. Just get in the zone a little easier. Just get a bit more aggressive, get better driving in. I find myself to have faster lap times, not only because of the slipstream you're of course getting, but also just the mental side of it. Apart from being chased, then it's a bit more nerve-wracking. I'd say you have to be on the edge all of the time. You have to try and find those little tends to pull away, but at the same time, you don't want to go too close to the edge and spin out.
It's just like that.
Big snap there from Lorenzo.
He did, and now it's going to definitely give Haken an advantage to get out of the corner. Now that's the place you do want to overtake, of course, and not to sit back because of the simple fact that you can maybe get a second gain here. It was good control to save that one because Lorenzo could have easily gone around. We've seen a couple of drivers spin. He's lost it there, isn't the entrance, and of course has tried to overcorrect it here, which he has, but he's had to lift off the gas, of course. And that was clever for him to see, hopefully, at the end of the race in 8 minutes change.
Perfect reaction from Håkan as well. He's really close to Lorenzo, so there's no time to react to that. But he picks up that Lorenzo is being compromised on the corner entry, and then just backs off a little bit to get that undercut in on the exit of the corner, and that's why we see him in P1 right now. Just a matter of time, though, before Lorenzo gets past.
That Haken was throwing that psychological games at him too. Remember, he's in the rear box. May have forced Lorenzo to look more in his mirrors there as he breaking into the corner there and missed his braking point a little bit. That's something else too, isn't it? It's a lot of concentration you need as a driver up the road.
Yeah, it's that edge I'm talking about. You want to get close to it, but you don't want to get over the edge because that's when your rear end starts turning the wrong way.
And send a dummy as well to like just pretend that you're going to go up at the inside. As Aiden makes he backed off this contact.
Yeah,
that's an interesting racing. Yeah, because it looked like Aiden did back off. He knew that he wasn't going to make it around the outside there, but then there was momentum of the car going into it. I don't know. I'm going to look at that one, no doubt. Stewart's.
Was it the he was battling with?
Haken right now, I'd throw a dummy up, but I wouldn't overtake in a second. Like here, I would throw a dummy pretending you're going to go up on the inside there, but then fling back in behind. And that's going to continue to make Lorenzo look at his mirrors consistency. Because now you're getting down 7 minutes. I'd say, again, isn't it? To these tight hairpins, but then Haken's backed off there. And just continue to do this. And now when you come down, obviously, to the last couple of minutes in the race, and that is the last lap or so, that's when you got to make your move.
Yeah, especially now that you want to sell the dummies to try and force your opponent into a mistake, which he's managed to make Lorenzo do a couple of times now. I think this is the second time that Lorenzo makes a mistake because Håkon is so close to him. But he has managed to overtake Håkon back 2 times as well, so everything is still up for grabs. So we have about 7 minutes left of this racing, plus minus a lap.
There's your notification for the investigation between Aiden Young coming together with the number 8 car of James. James Imbram. Bram has been in the wars a lot, haven't he? The British driver this evening. He was up the top of the field, in the midfield, had a couple of moments, accidents, pit stops, all sorts of jazz.
Yeah, he's had his own Ferris wheel ride.
Yeah.
A few ups, a few downs.
Memorable moments in Le Mans as we're watching Lewis. Is this going to be a spin coming out of this corner? Yeah, into the corner actually, and just left it off a little bit. That's okay. He had space.
Luckily, no traffic behind.
Like how everybody dummies into the pit lane entrance almost there.
Yeah, it's to maximize the track width that you have on the entry into the Ford chicane. It's super difficult to.
Here we go. But there's also a GT3 car here.
So.
Yeah, and they're going to get ahead of the GT3 car before the corner. He will. And he'll actually gain a little bit of time for that too. Hucken didn't quite get it timed perfectly there for the traffic. Enzo is going in. So Izzo's going in for his 3rd stop. Does he not have enough to go to the end?
No, he's off pitch schedule with the incident he had with...
That's right.
Was it James he had it with early on?
Oh! Hucken's got too deep into the fence.
Ooh, no,
he's managed to keep it on the track. Have a look if you can go on board his cockpit to see if he did get any steering. Sometimes it's a slight tap of the fence like that gives you steering damage. Doing such a great job too. You don't want to be losing it now.
Any bent steering here?
Yeah.
But I think it's game over for Håkon.
Yeah, it could be game. Well, we did see little mistakes but from Lorenzo, but I think now Lorenzo's got a little bit of a sigh of relief with the less pressure. Oh, Hucken is very
too big of a head. It's
and it's a side to it, like parallel. Yeah. But anyway, he still can't. He's gained 2 positions, and it's proven now he's had the pace to keep up to the Italian. Remember that Italian qualified on pole too, Lorenzo. So Hucken had to be pretty happy with himself, apart from that little mistake before. But pretty happy to keep in the similar pace there. Exact pace, obviously, with the fastest Italian around Le Mans.
Yeah, he can be proud of himself for the performance he's put in this evening. He's managed to keep it relatively clean. Of course, a little incident there as he goes onto Mulsanne straight, but apart from that, he's kept all 4 wheels on the track, forced a few drivers into mistakes, had some nice racing. Just been really smart all throughout. Done what we talked about, just trying to survive and get the best possible outcome. Fortunately, it looks like it's not going to be a win today with that 3-second gap he has to Lorenzo. It's going to be really difficult.
Well, Lorenzo has a 5-second penalty, doesn't he, from the crash from earlier when he took James out?
He does. Yeah, he should have. So in theory, it is still up for grab, but yeah, as mentioned, Lorenzo is just a little bit faster than Håkon. His fastest lap is about... It's actually more than a second faster than Håkon. So if he can put in some nice laps here, he should be able to pull the gap to Håkon, who's currently 3.5 seconds behind. As we get a message from race control.
No further action between Aiden Young and this man that you're watching, James.
Yeah, a little difficult to talk about an incident. We only saw it once, but it looked like Aiden, he was a bit optimistic going around the outside there. As we see Sebastian selling the dummy.
Yeah.
Going into Indianapolis.
Trying to throw off James, the number 8 car.
Yeah.
Why not?
And he still has a 10-second gap up ahead to work with.
Yeah, that's right.
10-second of Wessel. I think he's 8 seconds behind Wessel, so it's actually possible if he doesn't fight too much with James. Just that one to keep in mind. You'll be able to get a P5 from this race, which would still be a really good... Yes, Sebastian.
Yeah, but Sebastian hasn't flashed his lights in at least the lap yet. Come on, Seb, what's going on?
I think we'll see it too. But yeah, we gotta
Hey,
remember
we hadn't even
he's started
seen
P8, right?
Mr. Diaz before, I think, in that car, or Richard here. So here we go. We haven't even really said even realised that this Mr. I can't pronounce his first name, but Mr. Diaz, say the 29 car for Portugal. Interesting livery. I like the pink and graffiti and all sorts of pictures and stuff like that on it. It's something different. You see, you certainly won't miss that car.
Some special liveries around here from time to time. Some of them are a bit more typical racing style livery. You see Lorenzo, his team. I don't remember what the team is called, but that's a bit more subtle in a way, especially compared to Diaz.
I would go up to Vanta Black. That traps 99.9% of all light, so they just go with that one. Turn your headlights off at night and see if anybody's going to spot you.
I'm not sure if I'd want that one. People just ramming up in the rear of me.
They would actually see you because of the lights around the track. With like a black hole, you'd see all the lights around the darkness.
You just see a black hole.
Somebody I did see for a GT, no, it was an LMP car, I think, for one of the endurance races, was like an American cop car, kind of, US cop car livery. But that was quite cool. You see some interesting liveries as well, too, in the IndyCar series on Monday nights. You see somebody with the old McLaren Marlboro livery they had back in the 80s and 90s. There's a ton of some awesome liveries. But I guess the livery you need to look at right now, isn't it, is the livery of the man that very much is on the last lap to win here in Le Mans, the Italiano.
He's only going to win if he can get that gap to 5 seconds.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. That's a 5-second penalty.
He needs correct. 3 temps, 4 temps.
So now he's really going to have to get on the loud pedal a little louder. And Hakan can't afford to make any tiny mistake right now. He has to get on the loud pedal.
Yeah,
he's flashing that car way early.
Yeah, he's not. He can't afford being compromised here by the GT3 into the Porsche, because it does look like that's gonna come into.
Oh, it's gonna be close.
Yeah.
That's
unfortunate for Lewis. I don't think
bad timing.
It's gonna frustrate him. It's cost him a lot of time. It's gonna actually run off the road and have to lift off here. That's 4.8, 4.9 almost. It's on the bubble. It's actually gained a little bit through there, but it's.
But the gap is dropping. Gap is 4.7.
Yeah.
Let's try and see Håkon. Is he being compromised by the GT3? That's a real question now. As we're coming into the 4 chicanes.
He might have. He's just dropped almost.
No, it looks like he's alone. As the gap is still 4 seconds. Not gonna be enough following. So as he wins on track, he's crossed the line. He is P1. But here comes Håkon. He's a real race winner. So despite being P2 on track, he's P1 in the standings.
That's a massive crash there. Very, very late.
Yes.
That's not the place you want to be completely bent. Can he get out and push it across? You can't. The engine's cooked.
What an odd place to crash as well. I could have understand it if it was
they come
left
together
after the Porsche.
Yeah, that's contact. Yeah, for sure.
Oh.
Bang.
Really heavy impact into the left wall there. And there's a reason why he doesn't have a hood. Dylan got a quick shot there of Dylan. P3.
We've seen it.
Hey,
that's
coming out of your salary, my friend. You damage it, you pay for it. Yeah, I say if you damage your car at the end of this race, you have to start with the damaged car at the next race. There you go. I would be a hard marshal for
these Sebastian that goes into all. I think that's that shows what he thinks about this race. He was doing really well compared to the qualifying session that he had. He ate up into P4, I think it was, as he had contact with Whistle. Which
Porsche domination, isn't it, for the GT3s? All, I think at the moment was a Porsche domination, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, it was. The top 4 finishes were the Porsches.
Yeah, not only is it Porsche domination, it's Leo Racing Team domination. Getting, at least P1 on track in the LMP
And but what
category and double.
Bernardi, I think it is there. Yes, 13 positions gained to finish in the top of the GT class.
That is
Not bad at all.
That is insane, actually.
Yeah, that's practically almost the class, isn't it? Behind them, like that's almost the last to first challenge.
It's very close to what I think where the 15 car started, something like that. So only had one car to overtake. But I've got to say, with the pole position that who was it that got pole position in TCC? I don't remember, but it was a 1.4 second gap, something like that. Incredible dominant qualifying session.
Fabio Ponta, the other Italian. He qualified on pole, I think.
Yeah, it's not expecting anyone to be able to overtake him, not even with the slipstream. Because 1.4 seconds, that's a lot. Even on a long track like Le Mans, that's a lot. Not something you just find. Maybe on a track like Nürburgring, where it's so long. But it is a win for Alessio Bernardi in the GT3. It's Fabio Ponta right behind him and Luigi Nespolino as he comes across the line. With the car pointing in the right direction, he's going to be P3 running up the podium positions with Tim Perry just a few seconds behind him. Unfortunately, not going to be able to do anything about the podium positions, but still a great race for all of the GT3 cars.
And of course, we're only 1 hour into our 24 hours, so we still have plenty of motor racing to go. So you're not going to go anywhere at all. This was just a warm-up for the 24-hour. Now we have the actual race coming up now.
Raw before the 24.
So how will that pan out in the championship standings now? I believe that will be...
Yeah, so it's going to be 6,000 points for the winner of this... No. I have no idea. I cannot do that math in my head, unfortunately.
Doesn't it update it automatically? But are in the position.
No.
Good question.
No, it doesn't.
No, it doesn't.
I have to manually do that.
I will give you the results from the race. We can have the P2 results here. As my screen just focuses a little bit again so I can read everything. It's Lorenzo in P1, but remember that 5-second post-race penalty that he has will promote Håkon up into P1. So he's the actual winner of this race despite being P2 on track. Then it is Dylan, who's had a phenomenal race. The 420 car. About 16 seconds behind P3. Then it's Wessel. P4, he's got a 10-second post-race. Oh, that's actually all. Look at that gap between those two drivers. That's 8 thousandths of a second, sorry. Which gonna allow James to get up into P4. Sebastian, he's unfortunately a bit too far back to be able to do anything. So that's P6 for him. Aiden Young, P7. Alessandro Iso, P8. He's going to be absolutely gutted about that one. Dropping a lot of points to Lorenzo, who's going to be leading the championship. Actually, if my math is not wrong, then it is Roberto, who is also pretty far behind. I believe he had some kind of incident as well. Frank Smith out pretty early, P10, and then it is Mika that didn't do any laps, who is P11. Let's see if we can get the TT3 standings as well. Incredible racing from Alessio Bernardi, P1 in the GT3. He is, of course, the winner. And then 4 seconds behind, we got another Leo Racing team, driver of Fabio Ponta. Then it is Luigi Nespolino, who is our third Leo Racing team. So it's podium position for Leo Racing team all around. In the GT3, then it's Tim Perry, the Englishman, who is in P4. Lars Ryan in P5, Christian Glomstedt in P6, who has done pretty well with the recovery from the incident he had with, was it Victor? No, don't remember who he had an incident with. Someone early on who, which is the reason why he is a lap behind. Then it is Ricard, P7, Goats P8, Thomas P9, Luis Greg P10, Diaz P11, Victor Roman P12 after hitting the wall. On the inside, then it's Richard Jansen, P13, Adam Hedgecock, P15, and Ryan Martin, Adam Hedgecock, P14, Ryan Martin, P15. It is very late. It's going to be a long 24-hour race. Coming up next, who was it that had an incident with Victor? Was that Rick? I don't remember them.
Excellent. Well, thank you
Nonetheless.
very much for inviting
Yeah.
me into the casting box, gentlemen. And I shall definitely see everybody out there in IndyStore Racing on Monday, I think, if I'm available. Monday for the IndyCar Series, of course, once again. So thank you very much.
Do we have any interviews today? Look like we have. Oh, we have one hook on Gibson. Yep. Well, I'm actually not sure what kind of questions I'm gonna ask. Håkan. Yeah. Oh, we can get him in here. Of course. I think we should be able to figure something out as we are now joined by Håkan Gibson. Welcome to the commentator booth, and congratulations with the race win, despite being P2 on track. What's it like winning a race on post-race penalties?
Well, I wasn't sure. Like, I didn't think he had a penalty, and I just making that mistake. 2 laps to go, kind of dropped back. I'll just finish. And halfway through the last lap, I realized, oh, I might have a 5 penalty. So yeah, it was just barely hanging. Got help. Lap cars.
Yeah, because I was gonna mention it's probably pretty difficult for you to see being about 4 seconds back, but Lorenzo actually had a little. Oh, it's not an incident, but he was being held up by GT3 car, the Porsche curves, as you were about, I think it was 4.9 seconds behind Lorenzo, and we could just see how the the lap time was dropping, or the gap was dropping, and the chance of you winning the race was getting closer and closer. But you had a really nice racing there with Lorenzo on your third stint. It was then overtaking him a little bit, getting into his head, but unfortunately being overtaken back a few times. What did you have any particular plan with the third stint, or was it just take it as it comes?
I didn't have a specific plan. Where I came out behind him. I think I wasn't aware of penalties. Had to be the track, so we were racing hard. Then obviously I had my mistake going into the wall and overshooting onto the straight, getting a slowdown and everything. After that, I just kind of settled for a second and realized till the last lap that maybe.
Yeah. And to a completely different topic, we've seen you in a lot of different cars here at Anti-Stall Racing. What do you think of the LMPs, and what do you think of Le Mans as a bit more of a sprint style race? Of course, I don't know if an hour-long race is a sprint, but something we typically only see run for 24-hour races. But does it is it a good race for those shorter races?
I do enjoy driving around here. LMP are mostly hippies, and then in my later years, definitely not the fast LP2.
Certainly fast enough to get a race win out of this race.
Yeah, but you have to take a good in front of me.
Very true, but luck is a part of racing as well, isn't it? Yeah. Wes, I'm not sure if you have any questions for our race winner.
Let's think. Oh, yeah. You talk about not really having many incidents, and but the fact that others had incidents ahead of you, allowing you realistically to pick up the win. So not your normal display of what we've seen before in the past of absolute dominance, but still a win nonetheless, as well as it's not being on the track. More the fact that it was down to a penalty. Does it mean any less, or is it still happily, I'll take a win?
Hey man, a win's a win. Get a penalty for.
Yeah, it still feels exactly the same as it would even if it was on track.
Well, probably doesn't feel the same, but it sounds the same.
Yeah, the points are the same at the end of the day. The points doesn't, no one will know in the long run when we look back at the points whether it was from the penalty or not. We just know that you finished first at Le Mans. The fact that it is Le Mans, would you say that's the one you wanted to win from the season?
It wasn't one I expected to win. I'll say that much. Definitely not a track I have a lot of experience on. Like yeah.
Do you prefer the track, like the fact that how long it is, or would you prefer shorter circuits rather than the full 3 minutes to 4 minute circuit?
I prefer the long circuits. Nordschleife all day.
Okay, really. So it's proper long, difficult circuits that really drain you down bit by bit.
I've already seen the Violet every race.
That's well. Congratulations. Good luck in IndyCar on Monday.
Cheers. We'll see how that goes. Oval again.
Oh, there's another. Oh, have fun with the yellow flags then.
Yeah,
That's the case.
Not being able to drive in traffic.
Yes.
That's how it goes.
Right then, Niels.
But I think those are the final words. Then, Wesley, it's been a great race. We've had a lot of great racing, not only in the LP class. We've also had a lot of great racing in GT3. Yeah, battles until the end. Didn't really have an LMP2 winner until 4 seconds after the first car crossed the line. So it's been an intense hour. And I'd like to thank everybody that has tuned into our stream. As was mentioned, we have IndyCar racing on Monday. We have TCR on Tuesday. And then, of course, next Friday we'll have the 8th round of the IMSA series. That's going to be at Barcelona, if I am
You are right.
not mistaken.
No, you're right. Fully right.
Barcelona, yeah. So a lot of racing to be seen in the coming week. So remember to tune in for that one. In the meantime, you can, of course, subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can also follow us on Instagram. That is IndyStall Racing in one line. Yeah, I believe we have a TikTok as well, but that's not as active as our Instagram account.
Oh, thank you. I take that as a massive compliment because I am the Instagram account, so I will happily follow it very much.
Yeah. Yep. But until next time, thank you for watching and have a good weekend.